Good afternoon. I'm now going to call the Wednesday, February 5th, 2025 meeting of the Norfolk County Commission to order. On Wednesday, March 29th, 2023, Governor Healy signed into law Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2023, an act making appropriation for fiscal year 2023, which included a 2-year extension of the option for public bodies to hold remote meetings by suspending certain provisions of the Mass Open Meeting Law, General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 20. That action was effective immediately, extending this current option for remote meetings through March 31st, 2020.
2025.
I'm sorry, March 31st, 2025, fast approaching. So we are live and remote today. Thank you.
Joe, maybe Mary could lead us in the pledge of allegiance.
Okay.
Oh,
we
I
have a
don't know
special,
about that.
special guest. We're going to salute
As long
the
as you
flag.
join in, because you know I'm not very good at this.
Yeah.
I pledge
allegiance
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mary.
Thank God you didn't, thank you for asking. Thank God you didn't ask me to sing.
Richard, do we have your permission to sign the county documents during the meeting?
Already.
Yes, sir. Yep,
Oh, so
all set.
Perfect.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you.
I'm going to
You're
call the roll. Commissioner Stady,
Yes, sir, by remote.
Commissioner Collins,
Present.
Commissioner Shea is present. We have a quorum. No executive session today. My pen doesn't work. Let me see. Okay. Number 4, minutes of the January 29th meeting for approval, please.
There's an open session and an executive session.
Correct.
Richard, do you have the minutes for each
I
meeting?
do, I'll move approval as presented.
Okay, for the open session,
Yes,
second.
Motion on the open session minutes of January 29th. All in favor?
Aye.
all right.
Executive session minutes of February 29th and hold the release.
I just got those, so I didn't really view them honestly. If you want to move, go ahead. I'm sure that, yeah, I really just got them literally like 2 minutes ago.
Yeah, let's wait a week. I'll make a motion, we postpone it for a week.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Executive session minutes of February 29th, the motion made to postpone. All in favor?
Aye.
Yeah, next week's agenda. Number 5, appointments. I have none. Number 6, public comment session. Each week we have a session on our regularly scheduled agenda for public comment. Anyone can Zoom in or come in and speak to the commissioners. Director Cronin, do you have any public comment today?
I just want to share with the commissioners that a gentleman stopped by the office yesterday, unplanned and unannounced. He was curious to know what county government is all about, especially here in Norfolk County. I've been having opening in my schedule, so Bill Buckley and I welcomed him in, had a nice talk with this retired gentleman for about an hour. He was a fascinating resident of Weymouth, former resident of Dedham, who has some lineage in Norfolk County that takes him back, I believe it was to his great-grandfather, who was clerk of the courts in Norfolk Superior back the late 1800s. So it's a pleasure speaking with him. He's was very impressed by the work you do and the task you have every week to improve the lives of people in Norfolk County, the regional services approach. He was completely fascinated. So I think we'll be seeing him again. Good visit, great guy, retired attorney from Weymouth by the name of Brian. So it was a pleasure meeting him.
Thank you.
Thanks, you.
Interesting.
I know, what do you mean by we're gonna see him again? What's that mean? Is
He, I believe we've whetted his appetite for some historical documentation. We encouraged him to go next door to the Dedham Historical Society. They have a lot of documentation.
Yeah,
Apparently, his late relative wrote the history of Norfolk County, or at least a version of it, and he wanted to learn more. So we encouraged him to stop by and say hello. We have documents of our own we could help share with him, but he's
nice.
a man with time in his hands and a strong interest in Norfolk County.
Good. Well, maybe our new volunteer coordinator that we're appointing today could put him to work too as well in that capacity. You never know. That was looking for good volunteers, right?
That's right.
Number 7, I'm sorry. Public comment, last call for public comment. Okay, thank you. Number 7, old business, I have none. Number 8, personnel matters for consideration. We have 2 today.
We actually have three.
Commissioner, I'm sorry, we have 3. One is an FMLA, but we,
Richard, do you have that?
I'm gonna move the first one, notice of retirement. I'll move the motion, notice of retirement for Robert Pearson of Newtonville as RSVP Director at the rate stated, effective date 2/28/2025. I'm sure we're gonna be seeing Robert one more time, but he's done a great job there and he's leaving big shoes to fill. We wish him all the best. So moved.
we mentioned luncheon.
I'll second it, and I agree. Robert's been a great asset to the county. We're gonna miss him.
On the notice of retirement of Robert Pearson, motion made and seconded. Before we take a vote, I will tell you that we are going to have a final report from Robert on the last meeting of this month.
February 26th.
I'm sorry, February 26th. Well, it is February, right? February 26th, and we'll formally bid him adieu. But on his retirement, a motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
This is a motion. Next one, please.
Peter, you want to do that one?
Notice of appointment for Lucille Cassis of Braintree, Mass. as RSVP
We're
Director
going to talk about the interview process.
at the rate stated, effective 2/10/25. To take over the position as RSVP Director. That's the motion.
All right, second.
Motion made and seconded. Let's have the director bring us up to speed on this appointment of Lucille Castles before we take a vote. Go ahead, Charlie,
Thank you, Mr.
please.
Chairman. I want to thank our Human Resources Director, Michelle Labadini, Robert Pearson, Mr. Buckley, and a volunteer from the RSVP Corps who all conducted interviews of candidates that applied for this position. There was good interest in the position. We solicited and interviewed, I think, about a half a dozen candidates. In the end, they determined that Lucille Cassis of Braintree was the best fit. You'll find that Ms. Cassis has extensive nonprofit management experience, running, among other things, programs within Norfolk County. She has an exceptionally strong aptitude, writing skill, knowledge of federal grants, and other qualities that made her almost a perfect fit. I spoke to Robert after her interview, and he was very, very happy that we were able to find somebody with her kind of qualities and backgrounds as a suitable replacement for him. So looking ahead, I think when you get a chance to meet her, you'll find the qualities that we found to be so outstanding that she'll be a very good replacement going forward for the RSVP program. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, motion made and seconded on the appointment of Lucille Castles, Braintree, Mass.
So, Mr. Chairman, just might clarify, this
Yes.
candidate did get the recommendation of the full committee, correct?
Yes.
Correct? Okay. And when
Yes.
is she's starting February 10th?
Yes, we have sufficient salary resources to have an overlapping training of approximately
Okay.
2 weeks.
Okay,
Yes, to answer your question, that's correct.
okay. And Robert will be around to help her in those 2-week period?
That's why she's coming in a couple weeks early, because Robert's giving us the thumbs up here.
That's
Okay,
Thank you, Rob.
okay. That's what I was wondering about. Good. All right, thank you.
All right, let's call on the appointment of Lucille Cassis as RSVP Director starting February 10th. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. The third personnel matter for consideration today is a notice of return from FMLA for an employee.
Right. I'll move approval. I'll make a motion, move approval of notice of return from FMLA effective 2/3/25 code 11-02.
That's what it's known as. Code is 11-2. Okay.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
It is a vote. Thank you.
I don't have the warrants.
Payroll
either.
Expense.
You don't have these, Richard?
No, it's on you.
Okay, I'll make a motion. We move the warrant 25-31 payroll of the county in the amount of $144,634.69.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
It is a vote. Next.
The second item on the warrant list is 25-31, subsection 16, payroll of the county in the amount, payroll of the school in the amount of $386,272.43. So moved.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
It is a vote. Thank
The
you.
third is warrant 020125, expense of the county in the amount of $449.77.
Second,
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, it is a vote.
The last item on the warrant list is 25-5, U.S. Bank, Norfolk County Agricultural High School loan interest in the amount of $23,825.
second,
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
It is a
Aye.
vote. That's the last one. Thank you. That's number 9. Number 10, opera update. We have no warrants, but any opera update?
I do.
Director Cronin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Very briefly, Commissioners, later this afternoon, I'll have a call with Clifton Larson to begin, excuse me, identifying the new path within our portal system to accommodate transfers. We do have one community who has a transfer request pending, so we need to iron out how this portal will accommodate and track electronically the movement of funds from one approved grant to another approved grant. This particular action will be meaningful because following the approval and action, we will bring forth at least one transfer request as early as next week. I'm also eyeing potentially a transfer within the Norfolk County grant constellation once we complete an existing grant program at the end of May. So I mentioned to the commissioners when we transferred to this monitoring and observation transfer phase of the grant that we might see some of these, and we might be talking about ARPA on a monthly basis. So we'll schedule this one in the next week or two, as soon as we iron out how this transfer process will work. You have to just make sure that the breadcrumbs or the sign-offs and all the paperwork are traceable, I should say. So things moving ahead, I should have something for you in the next week or two.
Thank you. Any questions, Director Cronin, about opera update?
both set my end.
And I just want to confirm that as of the end of January, Public Works Treasurer
Just seeing if
Joe Dioria, that we have secured our our latest quarterly report to the federal government as of January 31st. So we are compliant with that. So I want to thank Joe for his help with that, as always.
Okay, thank you. Number 11, fiscal year 25 Wallaston Recreation Facility transfer request, Director Cronin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Our Wallaston Recreational Facility Superintendent Carl Minor has asked for a transfer of, let's get the exact amount. $14,685 from miscellaneous current charges to hardware and plumbing. This is required to replace a pump that has failed at the golf course. Carl's looking to replace that. Thank you, sir. Need a motion.
Any questions about this transfer? Is this from existing
It is,
funds to fund within our,
within the Wallaston.
Okay.
budget.
this is a transfer all within the Wallaston Recreation budget to fix a pump? I'm sure we need.
Mhm.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to transfer $14,695 within the Wallaston Recreation budget to repair a pump prior to opening. And I might announce today, Amy was in today and we were talking to her and gave her a plaque for 35 years of service. The golf course will be open in a month, believe it or not, March 10th.
Wow. Jeez.
If I could
I
just
know.
correct your statement, the transfer is $14,685, please.
You see me straining to read it? 685, I'm sorry. All in favor?
All
It
right,
is, oh, thank you. Next. Report from the procurement department on bid openings and contract awards.
Nothing this week.
Seeing none, no report from Maureen this week. Thank you. Number 13, report of the county director.
Thank you, Commissioner. A few items to your benefit. First, I want to confirm that the budgets for the FY 26 budget process are in. They've been delivered to Phil. They're in the process of being reviewed. The commissioners may know from the previously published schedule, you'll begin seeing the department heads come in and discuss their requests in 2 weeks on February 19th. In order, you'll see information technology, the wellness and recreational facility, and facility maintenance. As we progress with the development of the FY 26 budget, of course, there'll be other pieces that come into play, including a discussion of revenue, and indirect costs and things like that that make up our budget presentation. But I want to let you know things are underway. We're meeting our deadlines. We're all set to present the first three in 2 weeks. Wanted to let the commissioners know that I received an invite to observe a portal that the state has developed for municipalities to observe the transfer of funds associated with the opioid grant settlement. Over the last 2 years, as these funds have been made available to municipalities, the funds have flowed through a process that included an outside vendor who helped the Attorney General's office facilitate the award amounts. For now, for the first time, rather, we now have a consolidated view of how much money on one page is flowing between now, I should say 2023 and 2039. According to the state website, Norfolk County is slated to receive by the end of this distribution period over $212,000. So it's a nice tool. It's there for our use, and I'll be updating the commissioners, obviously, as we continue with this important grant distribution method. Later this month, possibly early March, I'll be bringing before the commissioners the round 2 opioid grant awards. You may know that you've already approved 11 community coalition grants of $1,500. There have been several other community coalition applications that came in subsequent to that deadline that you'll be hopefully looking at awarding within the next 3 to 4 weeks. We also received a separate email from Barbara Gilmeister from Gilly's House. She was very, very appreciative of the grant award you provided her, and again has extended an invitation to the county commissioners to come and see the facility and rent them. She'd very much welcome any or all of you to attend. If more than 2 of you are interested in going, just let us know so we can post. Otherwise, I'll just pass along our thanks for her invitation. Regarding contract negotiations and so forth, I just want to let the commissioners know that we are underway. We've had multiple meetings with all 3 units with AFSCME over the last month and a half. Things are going quite well. We've done our introductions, our ground rules. We've introduced, they've introduced their asks of us, very creative approaches for AFSCME. We really appreciate that. It opens up opportunities for negotiation, paths for compromise. We also had a PEC meeting last week pursuant to general law. We introduced the idea that we need to come back and finalize a PEC vote once the Mayflower Health Group confirms their expected cost rate structures for FY 26. We've scheduled that meeting. I don't remember it off the top of my head, but again, we're on track to abide by general law and make sure the PEC gets what it needs to move forward with the vote. So all things are going well with negotiations. I want to alert the commissioners that the state has informed us that they have awarded a cybersecurity training grant to us. Next week, we'll have Sam Evans, our CIO, before you to explain how this training grant will benefit all county employees. And finally, relatively good news. The commissioners may know that last fall, we received news from the Norfolk County Retirement System that as a result of expedited planning recommended by the Norfolk County Retirement System's actuary, costs associated with closing the liability were going to be assessed to all the various customers within that group. Looking at the numbers, the impact of Norfolk County was staggering. It stood out. We have since had multiple conversations with the retirement board. Your contact, Paul Connors, has been invaluable. He is a great assistance, has been of great assistance, decoding and trying to understand why Norfolk County's liability numbers were peaking as much as they did. I'm happy to report that Treasurer Bellotti came into my office last week. He and Paul helped coordinate a meeting with the actuary, as well as a retirement board staff member, Patrick LePage. And they determined that there had been an error in the way that they had assessed this out-facing or forward-facing liability over the next 5 years. They were double counting effectively the Norfolk County retirement, the Norfolk County Sheriff's retirement obligation, which is a separate line item altogether. So as a result of that change, I'm here to report that the liability view, which had been disastrous looking for us over the next 5 years, is now relatively modest, if not flat. Paul Connors told me we'll be hearing soon more from them in the next several months as they unfold what that new schedule looks like. But it's a great development. We're no longer staring at a multi-million-dollar liability obligation. In fact, I think it looks more modestly flat and manageable. So good development. We're waiting for more details, but again, high praise for both Michael, of course, and Paul Connors. They did their jobs quite well.
So that's the pension liability scare that we got because we're
Right.
we have to pay the pension liability, of course.
Right, as you
We all
know,
understand
the
it.
PAC, not the PAC, the state wants to ensure that retirement systems bring full 100% funding into view by 2040. The retirement board was accelerating that to 2036, I believe, 2035. We're currently at 70 or 71% funded. This accelerated liability payment cycle closes that gap before the state required deadline. So they're on track. Everybody embraces a model that the retirement board is putting forth. Some communities were like us; they were stunned and shocked by the amount that they would be facing. But as a result of some really hard work by the retirement board, Michael and Paul, I think we found safe harbor.
Okay.
That is all I have. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Any questions? I have a question. These fixed costs, pension liabilities, big one. What about Mayflower? We haven't heard on the final.
Not officially, no. There will be an increase. From the last Mayflower group meeting, I think the Mayflower group people made it clear that they hope to help communities navigate these spikes or these expenses that typically wreck local budgets. Mayflower is good at that. When their increases come out, they're not staggering. I will tell you, I'm aware that Maya, the group that covers most municipal insurance groups, is coming out with a 10 to 14% increase. It's staggering. I don't believe Mayflower is looking at anything like that because they tend to flatten things out through the use of the reserves. We'll know more officially in the next several weeks. So I'll share that when I have it.
Okay, and Michelle and Frank Haggerty monitor that committee. They represent us.
So
When they
Frank's
go to
not,
the meetings.
Frank's not on that any longer. Michelle knows. Frank's
Michelle
on the
knows,
PAC
okay.
as the retiree representative.
Okay.
What's, can I ask a
Any
question?
questions?
Yeah, could I ask a question?
Sure.
Yeah, thank you. John, good news. That's great news, actually. So congratulations to everybody involved in finding that error or mistake. But roughly, what was that amount that we were going to be hit with this year? Wasn't it like 600,000? We were looking to make up a difference on, or
So, right.
what
When
was-
Paul came before you in early December,
yeah,
they had already voted what the proposed increase was going to be for FY26, Commissioner Stady.
yep,
And that increase was approximately I think it was $120,000. But the schedule then took off like a rocket
right. I remember that. Yep.
between FY27 and 35, 36.
hmm
And as a result of those increases, we've seen obviously a decrease expectation, but the increase for FY27 was somewhere in a $1.5 to $2 million increase range. And then it went up from there. So it was trending towards a multiplier effect. Every year it was going to be another 1 million, 2 million, 1 million, 2 million. And in the aggregate, it was about a $9.7 million hit. And now we find out that that was mostly a double count.
So if I may, thank you, John. If I may, my voice is starting to go, but I remember the town meeting in Canton, a couple of the finance members were very concerned about also that year, and they said just don't extend it out anymore. Keep it. Was it 2035? They didn't want to stretch it out anymore. They said, okay, we can live with this, but try to keep it within that framework. And I understand all that, but how soon can Mike Bellotti and you and the team get the word out to the towns that the financial impact will not be as bad? Will that be something they'll send to the towns? information wise?
They have reached out to the Cities and Towns Commissioner. I did see an email from the Retirement Board. Kathleen sent it out, and it's an invitation to an online symposium to have that discussion. If
Okay.
you would like the date, I will, following the meeting, I'll shoot you a text with the date of when that's happening.
Yeah, I would.
And
That would be
the
one.
same conversation with them.
That would be good. I appreciate that. That's good. I mean, it's good news for the towns. Good news for everybody. It's great. It's great. It's a great find. So that's good. That's great news. Thank you for that. Thank you.
Okay, under the report of county director, anything else?
No, sir.
Commissioners, I don't have anything else.
Oh. Okay.
Number 14, emergency, and any other business that we did not anticipate, I do not have any. We are,
Before I
Ready?
retire back to bed to get better, I just wanted to mention to our director, I was in the great town of, no, let's see, Holliston,
okay,
Holliston Sunday.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw a couple of places there. A Pinecrest Golf Club for a candidate had a little thank you party, so
Oh, yeah.
it's a nice area.
That's past
James
that, yeah.
Arena DeRosa, nice man, very
That's
nice.
right. That golf course is owned by the town. It's almost the exact same model that you have for Wallace Recreational Facility.
which golf course is this?
Pinecrest.
That's interesting. Is that right?
Yeah, the
That's
town
so,
owns the clubhouse. We contract out the services to manage the course as well as manage the restaurant. It makes money.
that's great. That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looked pretty nice, you know, it's winter, but glad I mentioned that. It was great. It looked nice. That's all I had, unless Peter has something.
Okay, all right, number 14, we have nothing else. I'll take a motion to adjourn, please.
All right, so moved. At
Second.
my
Motion
clock
made.
says 1:30.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you
I'll
very
see you
much.
gentlemen next week.